So welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me today for this energetic forecast reading of this solar ring of our year of the red self-existing moon that is going to span from today, July the 26th, 2022, until next year, officially July 24, but also we take into account the date of time. So until July 25, 2023. So I'm very happy to have you all of you here. And just to let you know that this information is obviously framed in the dream spell. So it's important to know, if you have no idea about the dream spell, then just bear with me. You're gonna have to believe me. You're gonna have to just take my word for like this is the information as it is, but there's a lot of information out there where you can read a little bit about the archetypes, although I will present obviously as well my interpretation about what energies will this year bring to us, or is already starting to bring, because obviously the years are connected one with another. As I was just saying a moment ago, this process that we're going through after the closing of the cycle, December 21st, 2012, it didn't happen overnight, although many of us wished it was so. This is a process, a planetary birth, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this in a moment. So I'm going to start sharing the presentation now. So let me know if you guys can see it. I hope that you all can see it. Okay, very good. So I can see all of your faces. So if at some point there's something you need to say, just you can raise your hand here on Zoom to ask any questions. So what we are going to be feeling or vibing this year, it has to do with going on our own quest for our own grail. And so I'm going to talk to you about some archetypes related to the Arthurian myths that are also, I've been working with this for many years, that are also very connected to the dream spell, different signatures or galactic signatures. I chose this image. This isn't really her, but to me, it portrays her very well. So for me, this is Morgaine, which is the archetype that we're going to be working with. Like today is her day. Today is her galactic birthday, because today it is her signature, her kin, as we would say. And I like it because it's like, it represents her. She's in red. That's the color of this year. That also gives us information about what kind of year we're going to have this year. And she's holding a cup or a grail. So that's why I chose this image, because I saw it's very fitting to the topics that we're going to be talking about today. So, and I'm going to tell you, where do these Arthurian myth archetypes come from, connecting to the dream spell? Originally, and I will show it to you, it comes from one archetype that Jose Arguelles himself gave to us, and others I've been working with them through synchronicities, personal synchronicities. So this is kind of my mythology, or the mythology of Mexxicamelot. This is one version. It's not to say that this is the version and this is the only truth. No, this is just one facet of the diamond of reality. But when I was preparing the information for this presentation, I was really, really in awe to see how the archetypes that I received in terms of the galactic signatures, what their energies are for the two main characters that will be joining us in this year. When I was reading the counterpart in the Arthurian myths, and I really have to give a shout out to my teacher, Mike Bice from Circle of Avalon, because he's the one that's helping me bring together, like I have all of the dream spell information, and he's the one that's helping me or teaching me the ways of the Arthurian, no? Because where we live, well, I live in Mexico, in the Americas, we don't really have access so easily to these kinds of books. There are many, many different kinds of authors that we never hear about here in the Americas. So having a European perspective has really helped me. And I'm really thankful to Mike because he's helping me. I'm still researching. This is not definitive. There's going to be more information coming through. So I would ask you to check out what we're doing in Mexxicamelot, both on Facebook and Instagram, because at some point I'm going to be sharing more information about what I find. But what I found for this year, it's really interesting because what was shown to me in terms of the energetic forecast in the past couple of years, connecting to this one, it's all like a thread. Uh-huh. It's like synchronicity is leaving us some crumbs of bread. So we're going in the forest and we have to follow it so that we can find the treasure. And that's exactly what is happening. And so there's much to be expanded upon, but I'm going to present to you today basically what I found so far and how we can use these archetypes on our own um, personal quest for our own personal grail during this year. And so this is the archetype. So actually it looks green because that means it's a galactic activation portal day to day, but also a year. So this year it's going to be like, it's going to be fun. I don't want to scare you guys because that's not the point, but it's going to be fun because we're talking about the energies of the moon and also the self-existing tone, which is giving shape and form. And then add on top of it that it's a galactic activation portal. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So that's what I was asking, like some of the people that came in earlier, like, how are you feeling this year? And they're like, I don't know. Well, I will show you maybe what might happen, no? So I want to give you a little bit of background as to how did we get here in terms of the energy. So I'm going to be talking about the past two galactic Mayan years. So this one is the blue lunar storm. The year was 2020, 2021. So this is, if memory serves correctly, because right now my time is all upside down, and I think that probably has happened with you guys as well. This is when all the crazy stuff started happening in the world, right? So as I was telling you about the closing of the cycle, we believe in the dream spell or the galactic Mayan time count that there was a big cycle of time that was closed on December 21st, 2012. I'm not going to talk very much about it right now because it would take us like, I don't know, 5 hours probably or 6 to just talk about it. But just, you have probably heard about it, no? The famous Mayan calendar, the end of the world and all of this. It wasn't really the end of the world. It was just the end of a cycle, the cycle of history. And now we began a new spin, just like any different time measurement. It could be a day, night and day, and then we begin another one. It could be a week, it could be a season, a year, whatever. So the same happens in the big scale of time. So that's basically what was happening. We're going through this closing of the cycle in 2012. And as I was telling you a few minutes ago, many of us, I was among them, like now I think about it because that was 10 years ago. Oh my God, a decade ago. It was 10 years ago. And I'm just like, how naive I was, no? But I think that many of us wanted to be naive because there's a lot of people who really want a change in the world. So this being said, I remember we were in Palenque, actually Stephanie South was there, and we were just saying like, this is it, Rainbow Bridge is gonna come, peace is coming on earth, everything's gonna be well. And the next morning we had a big storm. It was raining, the sun didn't come, and it was purification through water. It was really, really amazing, very interesting. So after some years, obviously, when you're living a moment, it like you don't really have time to process everything and assimilate what is happening. So at the moment we were like, okay, we don't understand, just like I was asking you, what do you guys feel about this year? We don't know. No, we don't know because we're in the middle of it right now, no? But then now with a 10-year perspective, now I can tell you that the way I understand it, and I started presenting this information 2 years ago, this is like a planetary birth. So when a baby is born, like I'm not a mother, I haven't had children, but I like to watch some medical shows, and I also hear from the experiences of other women that I know. The baby is not like, here's the baby and you're ready to go. No, there is a whole process. First, the birthing, it takes some time for the baby to come out completely. Then the placenta has to come out. And also the body of the mother has to come back slowly but surely to its original form, or not exactly original, but you know what I mean? So this is a process of birthing that is not from one day to the other or one moment to the other. This is a time cycle that's going to take many, many years to come. So It's not going to take 10 years. It's not going to take 20 years. It's going to take even longer. So it's important to be mindful of that all of the changes that we're experiencing right now, these are not a product of something that is just so immediate. This is a process that is going to still keep taking some time, even though time is accelerating. And you might find that that's the way it is. Suddenly, like, you don't know what day it is, or suddenly you're like doing whatever, then you look at the clock and it's like 5 hours went by and you're like, what happened with time? So everything is accelerating because the frequencies are accelerating, and that has to do with the fact that we are entering a new cycle of time. And then, so it's important to be mindful of that we are entering a new cycle, and it's going to still take some time to enter this new cycle. It's not just from one moment to the next. And then I also talked back then about the prophecies of Pakal Botan. And what he's telling us is that we have a natural time amnesia. So I have a little bit of an image over here. I can share this with you if you want. This is the cycle of the Bactuns, the cycle of history. So what Jose Arguelles did is that he put, just as we're going to do the analysis of this year fractally, because you can put what is called the wave spell. The wave spell is a group of 13 different energies. So these 13 energies, we can fractally put them into each one of the 28 days that comprise each month, and then we know energetically what's going to happen. So what Jose Arguelles did with the Tzolk'in, we have here the whole Tzolk'in, and then he divided fractally this whole Tzolk'in into what would be the cycle of history. And this is 5,200 and something years, I think. I'm never really good at memorizing exact numbers, but it begins on 3,113 before Christ, and it ends in Anno Domini, or the year of the Lord, 2012. So each one of these little squares or rectangles, they represent 20 years. So we have 20 times 260. That is the whole cycle, the last cycle of history. So what he said about this closing of the cycle, obviously, it's going to take some time to be doing this transit, beginning his count from Uruk and Menes all the way up here to what he called the harmonic convergence in 1987. And what we were supposed to do in the last 20 years was to work towards Earth regeneration. And that's not exactly what happened. We are in a big crisis right now because we cannot keep expanding on the system as it is. And so this block over here of 20 times 20, which is about 400 years, this is called the Bactun of the transformation of matter. So we went all the way from Descartes to the internet and all of these things that were happening before 2012. So now everything is accelerating, everything is very fast. And we have begun a complete new cycle of this, but this is history that is not written. And so here we are, like this is the first 20 years of the transformation. So we're halfway through, which would be the dragon, the red magnetic dragon. So we have begun another Tzolk'in cycle spanning over 5,000 years. And right now we're in this big block over here, giving birth to a new world. But this birth is not going to be something that is going to keep on happening like one moment from another. No, this is a process that is an ongoing process. It's being very accelerated, but at the same time, we don't know what's going to happen. And many incredible things have happened. As some of us who are connected right now know, for example, now we've been talking a little bit about how the government, for example, of the United States is talking more and more about UFO sightings. When you said, when were they going to accept something like this was going on? They have no choice, because now everything is accelerating so much. We're entering into a new phase of consciousness and reality. So they cannot deny, there's some things that cannot be denied anymore. And we're exactly in this point over here right now. So this is the point after history. And what we are being convened to do after 2012, even though it's been almost 10 years now. We still can participate of a conscious plan of what are we going to do each year, now that we know that we are exactly in this part, birthing a new cycle. And everything that you want to create or co-create, it's there. Like the possibilities are endless. So this is the first part that I wanted to tell you a little bit about. Like, that's the background. We are here because we went through all of this cycle of history, coming to the harmonic convergence and then the closing of the cycle. And now we're entering a new cycle again. And then also something that is very important to talk about, and this will take me a long, long time to talk about this, so I'm just going to do it really, really quick. Pacal was a king, a Mayan king, so he was in this city called Palenque, and this is the temple of inscriptions. And I had never seen this image before, and I really like it because it looks kind of like how it would have looked in its original form. So something very interesting happened here in the Americas when they started finding pyramids. And I'm very fortunate to live in a country where we have many, and I have had the opportunity to visit many pyramids. So all of the pyramids they have found up until the point where Palenque was properly being excavated, they all have been like ceremony centers or cities. But in this case, this was the first tomb that was found in a pyramid in the Americas. Others have been found later on, but this is the most important one and the most relevant one. So Pacal was a king, and he brought peace to his people. They said that he was king for like around 80 years. And I want you to notice something very interesting in his hands. In his hands, he's holding the sphere and the cube. So these elements tell us that he was an alchemist, he was a magician, he was a very wise man who knew many, many different things. And so the sphere in his left hand represents the absolute universe. So that is, if you know a little bit about Kabbalah, what it represents, it would represent like the veils before creation, Ein, Ein Sof, and Ein Sof out. And then in Kabbalah, the tree of life begins unfolding, and we go from the sphere down to the cube. And the cube would represent like the lowest part of manifestation. That's why the cube, it has this distinct shape, this squared shape, because you can see that it has limits, and the sphere, it involves everything. It involves it. It encapsulates everything around it. So this tells us that Pacal knew about the quantum world, so to speak, or the spirit world, the absolute universe, and also the universe of the manifest here in the cube. So he knew, because he was like a prophet, he knew that humanity would forget about natural time, and humanity would forget their divine origins. So what he did is that he left some interesting keys here in his tombstone. And I remember the first time that I saw this image, I was in high school, and I had this American teacher. I can't remember his name, by the way, but he was an American teacher, and he said in Spanish, "No, oh, look, this is the astronaut," like trying to speak Spanish with his American accent. He was very cute, like the way he was saying it. And I remember that, like, that stuck in my mind. And I was like, this guy is crazy. I was, I don't know, 15 years old at the time. So he comes and tells us, look, this is the astronaut king from the Mayans. And we're like, what are you smoking, dude? What are you talking about, no? By this time, I hadn't heard about the dream spell yet. That came just a few months later, actually. So he said, yes, look at the image, because he's the astronaut. You can see like the position he's in right here. And over here, it looks like it's like fire, and he's in his spaceship, and he's getting ready to go to space, no? And I remember that and was like, yeah, whatever, no? But now, years later, after everything that I've been studying by Jose Argüelles and many other authors, you see that what he left behind were all of these different codes here, so that we would remember, and he left those codes here in his tomb, so that we would remember that we would fall prey of artificial time. And time, the original frequency of time, if you let time do its thing in nature, it will bring a beautiful work of art. Even things which might seem very ugly in nature, they all serve a purpose and they're all very, very beautiful. So that being said, he leaves these different codes that would lead us to one natural time count, or based on a natural time count, which is the dream spell, which is based on the original calendar from the Mayans. So it's not the same, as we already know, the people who have been working with the dream spell and synchronotron and telectonon. This is information that we have to be very clear about it. The original Mayan calendar is one thing, and the galactic Mayan, this is like a new dispensation of time for the moments, the modern times that we're living right now. So in a way, we could say that Pakal left these bits of, like, again, I was telling you about the crumbs of bread, so that there would be an agent, like a time agent called Jose Arguelles, who would be incarnate in these times, in these precise times. And then when he would get in touch with this information, he would remember many things and start connecting to this stream of information that would bring forth what today we know is the dream spell. So he knew, so his prophecy said that there's going to be, people are going to have a natural time amnesia. You have to come back to the original program of time, or else you're going to destroy everything around you and you're going to destroy one another. So he came with a warning: either you change and you come back to nature, or it's going to be a mess. So sadly, not many people have really understood that, no? And we're still in that process between a lot of people who are very conscious, who are very loving, and who really want to do the best for the planet and for every sentient being. And on the other side, we have all of this bunch of people who have no consciousness, because they have this virus implanted in them that makes them think that time is money and that you are what you own. You are not what you own. And if I ask you right now to tell you, hey, can you tell me who you are? Like, can you point to yourself? And most people, because I've done this exercise in groups, and most people, they will say, if I say, okay, who are you? They would go to the heart, to the throat, or to their head. And I said, okay, like when I do this exercise, do any of you guys point to your pocket or to your wallet? So not really, no? Alexis has to go. It's okay, Alexis, don't worry. You can check out the recording later. We'll miss you. Bye. So people are never going to be pointing at their wallet, because that's not who you are. Who you are is how you feel, how you speak, and how you think, no? So this is something important to remember. Like, we had this prophecy, some people did come across this information, but not because the end of the cycle came and went. That means that there's nothing else to be done about it. We still have much work to do. So this is information that I presented 2 years ago. And last year, on the Yellow Electric Seed Year, I explained a little bit about what is a dream spell. So how Jose Arguelles explains it is, it's like when we get together, 2, 3, or more people get together in an agreement about something, we create a dream spell. So right now, basically, the whole crazy mess that is going on around the world is a dream spell that we're in. So as long as you continue feeding that dream spell, then you're gonna be living that. So that's why it's so important that other people start getting together and create new mini dream spells to break the big dream spell of time is money and destruction and disconnection. So how do we do that? We use the dream spell or the synchronometer, because that helps us come back into a natural time line. And then we connect with synchronicities, we are true to ourselves, and then we can create magic. And then we disconnect from what is like not exactly the best timeline for us. I also talked about accessing the multiverse and the theft of time, and I talked about the Galactic Roundtable and the quest for the Grail. So let me tell you a little bit about this. I don't know if you guys have watched this series on, it's on Disney Plus, actually, it's now from Marvel. So this is Loki. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. Okay, this is important because it's gonna help you understand a lot of every crazy thing that we're going through right now. It's gonna make so much sense you have no idea. But I'm not gonna spoil it big time for you. I'm just gonna tell you that uh, what this series starts talking about, and that's gonna permeate the rest of the MC universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that let's imagine that this is the main timeline. There is one main timeline. And so from that point, if I decide to do something different today, for example, right now I said, I'm going to take a sip of my glass of water. And then I create one of these things over here, which is like, I'm going to be creating a new timeline. In another one, I say, no, I don't want to drink any more of that. I'm going to get up and get a cup of coffee, for example. So I create a diverting timeline. So this is what is happening, and this is explained here in this series. What happens when there are different timelines? That means that there are not only different timelines, but also that entails different universes. That's the multiverse, because we can have same person. In this case, this is Loki. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different ones, which are called variants in the series. So you can have, I don't know how many different variants of yourself, but you cannot really meet them because you cannot be on the same timeline. That's the thing about the multiverse. Like, it exists in parallel lines, but it's not exactly everything in the same space. No, it's in different space, different timelines, but it's all happening simultaneously. So the beauty of the dream spell is that, because if you think that time is linear, then you're going to live a linear life. But time is not linear. Time is radial. And so if you start seeing time in a radial way, then you're going to start living with really crazy stuff like synchronicities and deja vus. And really, really crazy stuff is going to start happening because you're going to start experiencing reality in a different way. So the series of Loki is telling us about it. So how can we, maybe I cannot access the other timelines, but maybe I can meditate and connect with my other variants. Like, if there's something that I don't know in this universe, maybe an Aida from another universe, and maybe I am a man, maybe I am a turtle, I don't know. Like, they have that wisdom that I need, so I could connect in meditation. And in the quantum field, you can connect with other versions of you and get information or whatever you need from them. Like, this sounds very crazy, but more as time is like passing by more and more, and this is based in science. Like, I'm talking, this is like about science fiction, but slowly but surely science fiction is becoming science reality, no? So this is really interesting, because then what happens is that if we start moving through a synchronic timeline, then we can choose what is the best timeline to be in. We can move through there instead of being pushed wherever destiny is wanting to push us. And so there is also this movie from I think it's late 90s or beginning of the 2000s with Gwyneth Paltrow. It's called Sliding Doors. If you haven't watched it, I would ask you to do it, because it's more or less the same principle, and it's going to show us, like, in what just one thing in this reality. Look at her, how she looks like in this reality she didn't get on the subway, and in this one she did. So it's just that one little thing, how it created two different timelines. And there are some things that you have to go through, which are like destiny, which are something like, there are some things that your soul has decided to live no matter where you are. But things will change just by one single thing that you choose to do. So this is what I was talking about. The energy from last year was preparing us to be able to understand how we can access the multiverse, how we can choose the best timeline, and how we can enter a more synchronic timeline. And you have to do it with awareness and consciousness. And you do that through the use of a synchronometer, that is a natural time count that will help you access other kinds of reality. So this is something that I talked about. I'm just giving you like a very, very short summary of what was said back because it took me actually, it was 2 presentations in over 40 hours of time that it took me to say all of this. But well, now the other aspect, because the 2 archetypes that were present last year were Guinevere, Queen Guinevere. Her kin is 222. She's a magnetic white wind. And at the end, this is called a wave spell. So these are groups of 13 kin that are giving us certain information and that have certain energy. So we had Guinevere over here and Merlin, as Merlin the Ancient, as a white cosmic wizard. So we had these 2 energies very present during the year, and we were being called upon to create the Galactic Roundtable and get ready for the quest for the Grail this year that begins today. So as you can see, actually, the Roundtable was a dowry gift from Guinevere to Arthur. She brings the Roundtable to Camelot. And the Roundtable, what it represents is precisely the celestial order. So you would normally see, it's like a fractal of the astrology, the different constellations. You would see that on the round table. In our case, our round table is the galactic round table, and it is our galactic compass. This is a tool that we use in the dream spell to know where we're at in terms of the energy of the day, or every 13 days, or every 20 days. And also in the back, we can see what is the energy of the year. So there are many things we can map synchronistically with the galactic compass. And so that's what I was told to share with everybody last year. That last year, or well, yes, because it's already over. Last year, we were going to be activating our galactic roundtable because we need a place to meet. If we don't have a place to meet together to see, we cannot go to the adventure. So this is what happened last year. And to me, it makes a lot of sense with the different groups of kin that were connecting. It was really, really amazing because the roundtable energies were there. And not everybody connected with everybody. So Devin and Miguel might know exactly what I'm talking about. In these different groups, there were a lot of people, but not every person was really gathering in the same like energetic or archetypal space, so to speak. So this is what was happening, right? This was generated last year, and actually it is Merlin who creates the round table. Like Guinevere brings it with her because she has the like the knowledge of synchronicity with her, but Merlin creates the magic of this the galactic compass. And in a way, what it represents, and this was taught by Loidin Arguelles, well, now Loidin Burris, who passed away as well. This is like when you go into a box, you know, one of those boxes where you can, a safekeeping box that you can just turn around, you know, the little circles, and then you can open it, and we have inside a very, very special treasure. This is just the same, but it's activating it in our brains, this information. So this is very interesting to note. And that's what was activated last year. So many people were not aware of this, or they were not conscious of it, but it happened. Like I saw it with a lot of people. And this image was actually taken 10 years ago for the Day Out of Time. 10 years ago here in my city. I'm over here actually. And this was a friend who put it. And this is what we were called upon to do. Come together, you know, the different planetary kin, and in the center having this Hunaku, which is the one giver of movement that is going to help us come together and then go together in the adventure. So basically, this is what happened in the past few years energetically. And so in this year, we're going to be working again with the ladies of Avalon and Camelot. Like we're going to continue. Last year, we had a very active energy for both Guinevere, in this case as a lady, and Merlin. But this year, and I mentioned that in the Spanish presentation last year, this year it is Morgane's or Morgana Le Fay's energy. This image is from The Mists of Avalon. If you haven't watched that movie, please watch it because it's a delight. It's still not entirely perfect, but it gives you the feminine point of view of what was going on in Camelot. And how the feminine energies were so important for what had to be done in terms of who was taking care of what energy. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it in a moment. So this galactic Mayan year corresponds to the galactic signature of Morgana Le Fay, and she's a red self-existing moon. Her guiding power, which is the red serpent, so this is very powerful energy, very feminine, very sexual energy. Her guiding power is in the wave spell of the wind. So Winniver's energy is still pulsating, but in a second plane. Like last year was her year and Merlin's year, and this year we're going to be pulsating with the energy of Morgaine and also with the energy of Lancelot. So I will just tell you a little bit more about it in a moment. So that's what happened, that since last year, both Morgaine and Guinevere have been doing a joint work. First, last year established the Galactic Round Table so that we can all come together, gather, and then go on in our adventures, and then so that this year we could go on our quest for our own personal grail. And I chose this image. This is not them, but for me, this is perfectly them. This represents Guinevere. Here's the grail. And now it's like, now she's giving the grail to Morgaine to say, okay, now it's your turn to go and be our guide energetically for what's gonna come. So today the Rainbow Tribe is being called on an adventure, and the adventure is go on our quest for our own grail. So let's talk now about Morgana. And this image is also based, like practically all of the images that I chose are based on this movie of The Mists of Avalon. And you can see, look at her. She has the little moon in her forehead. And so her archetype, as I said, is the red self-existing moon. And something very interesting that happens with the Arthurian myths, there are many, many different versions of the same stories. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring here information about like a collection of what many different mythologies or many different authors are saying about this topic. Okay, so in this case, Morgan or Morgana, Morgan Le Fay, they are all the same person. And her name refers back to the priestess of Avalon. She's a priestess of Avalon. And I will tell you a little bit more about Avalon in a moment. But it is important to note her main and most important function is that she is a high priestess of Avalon. Here she is in this image with the Lady of the Lake. So she was trained by the Lady of the Lake, to become the high priestess of Avalon and become one of the 9 sisters. So there are 9 sisters that are taking care of the sacred fires in Avalon. They are taking care of the magic. I'm not going to go into much detail about many things. You can go and do your own research, but I'm just mentioning this because that means that she is the leader. She's the high priestess of them all, and she was prepared by the Lady of the Lake to become that, the high priestess of them all. And because of her magic, she is considered part fae. So in some stories, they say that she is born half human and half fae. In other stories, she is mentioned as a fae because of the magic that she uses. So it doesn't matter why she is part fae. The thing is, she is part fae because she works with this magic from Avalon. And what about the Lady of the Lake? So in the dream spell, as I was telling you a few minutes ago, the first archetype that jumps up into the whole mythology of the dream spell that is connected to the Arthurian myths is the Lady of the Lake. So the Lady of the Lake is Kin 22, which is the white solar wind or Bolon Ik. This is her. And I made this image in Spanish. I haven't done it in English, but it just says Loidin. That's Loidin Burris. She had that signature, and that's where it comes from, actually. She was partner of Jose Arguelles during the first years of development of the law of time. So she's the white solar wind, the Lady of the Lake. So this is the same archetype, and you can find it in a book called The Arcturus Probe. That is where this archetype is mentioned. So this is the same energy. So this wind, the solar wind, is going to be the energy of the Lady of the Lake, which is going to be very, very important and vital for what's going on in Avalon. And coming back to Morgaine, Morgaine is often related to the moon and moon magic. Like when I started seeing the definition of Morgaine according to the Arthurian myths, and then I said, that's why I found that she was a moon and a self-existing moon, because she's like putting order into the energies of the moon. So what is this moon magic? Because there are many different kinds of magic. The moon related magic implies seership, prophecy, and looking into water, into crystals, and with that being able to see the future, but also being able to look into the deep past and correlating the different events. So this is very interesting because I will give you a bit more explanation about the energies of the moon if you don't know about it. But if you read about the archetype of the moon in the dream spell, this is precisely what the moon is. It talks about the universal waters, the flow, the subconscious, the unconsciousness, all of these. And this is exactly what Morgaine's realm of work, of magical work lays. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, like that's why it had to go together with this. She had to be a moon because she's a moon sorceress or a moon fae, so to speak. And then we have to remember that moon magic is all about the unconscious. So in some of these stories, unfortunately, because she might be seen as a bit manipulative, you might think of her instead of a help, she would be like a challenger, no? As sometimes this moon magic is about manipulation of the unconscious and the events that are yet to come, then she might be tricky or unreliable. So you have to be careful when you're doing moon magic because it might trick you just like the moon. Sometimes it looks like it's full, sometimes it's empty, like it's very, very changing. It doesn't have a very safe, not safe, but stable structure. So just remember that about her. And now let's talk a little bit more about Avalon. This is also from the movie. This is when Morgaine first arrives to Avalon. And you can see here other priestesses. And then here she is very grown up in one of the boats because there are these mists that are enveloping Avalon. Why? Because Avalon is a place of the art, the place of deep mystical knowledge, which lies beyond the veil or the abyss. So this veil, this is basically, that's what the mists are about. This is like the veil. We cannot see. We have to ask these mists to move around, and then we can find what is there, what is beyond, what is being hidden in our unconscious. So it is through the veils or the abyss that certain knowledge or wisdom, through prophecy, which is, if you're talking about the tree of life, which is the Chokmah in the Kabbalistic tree of life, or through the contemplative, which is Binah, it is being shared with the kingdom of Tiferet, or the center, the heart of Camelot, which is, of course, the king who is there. So we have the possibility of connecting, once we open those veils, connect to certain knowledge or wisdom through prophecy or through contemplative knowledge. And that is the work of the moon. And that's going to be helping the kingdom. Because if you have that information available, then you know what action you have to take. And so let me talk now about this other pair, which is very important, which is Morgaine and Arthur. So Morgaine and Arthur are half siblings. They are both children of Igraine, but they have different fathers. So if you see, this is again the oracle of Morgaine, and it's today's oracle. The analog power, which is like the best friend energy, is the white dog, the white self-existing dog. And that is precisely the galactic signature of Arthur. So it makes sense, they come together. So this is why Morgaine, through this moon magic, is going to activate the Tiferet, or in this case, active the knowledge of Avalon in Arthur. And as I just mentioned, he's the perfect analog for Morgaine. And also this year, the energy of King Arthur is present subtly in the energies of the year, although in the background. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this archetype. Although he's not the most important one, he's going to be kind of present. So I'm not going to be focusing so much on him, but here's some information about Arthur. So he is the king, of course, of Camelot. He's waiting to rise so its kingdom may be established again. So what he's doing this year for us is reminding us that what is required is that we draw our sword from our stone. That means take back our autonomy and sovereignty. When did we lose our sovereignty and our autonomy? When we give our power to others. How does that begin? By giving the power of our time to a machine, or give it to a fake time that is making us think that time is money. And in this case, the stone represents your own unconscious impulses that prevent you from taking back your inner kingship. So this is like everything that is like not allowing you to see these programs that we have, these limiting beliefs. That's the stone. So Morgaine will bring you to the light that is hidden in your unconsciousness. So she's going to be our guide to know where our stone is, and then when we're ready, we can just take back our sword and reclaim our kinship. So that is part of the work to do this year as well. So just remember this: to become king, you serve, you are not served. You rise to make others stand above themselves. You kneel so others may be taught humbleness. You accept all, for rejecting one is rejecting the all. Remain in that place of kings, sovereign, noble, humble, strong, wise, and loving all without reserve. So if you read this, you become king not to serve yourself. You become a king to serve your fellow people, to serve the land, to serve everybody around you. That's what being a king implies. And this makes sense if you know that he is a white, self-existing dog. The dog is all about love, unconditional love, and protecting the tribe. So that makes a lot of sense. And so in order to do that, you're not going to do this work of going on the quest for your grail to serve your own purposes. You're doing it to bring back to the community. So that is very important to keep in mind. So how are we doing? So far, so good? Is this clear? Yes? Okay, very good. So now let's continue with a bit more information about Morgaine, talking about what is her place in this year's wave spell. This is the wave spell of this year. So her position is right over here in the 4th position. And it is the wave spell of the world bridger of death. So this indicates to us that it's time to let go of old ways or behaviors that do not serve the highest good. So this year it's going to be working a lot with death, metaphorical deaths. We have to let go of a lot of things, because the purpose of this year is to attract death in order to transcend endlessness. That's the purpose of this year. So that implies that we have to let go of many, many, many different things so that we can put order and create the kingdom that we want to create. So that's the work we're going to be doing throughout the year. And we're going to be analyzing each moon in a moment. But we have to know, we have these 2 aides this year with us. One is Morgaine and the other is Lancelot. So how is she going to help us? Well, precisely, if we want to let go of things that are no longer of use to us, we first have to know what it is that is no longer serving us. And that's what she's going to do for us. She's going to help us bring that to light, bring that clarity. Now let's talk about the archetype of the moon as such, and what are her keywords. Like, this is Morgaine, but this is the moon as well. So her keywords are universal water, purifies, and flow. So again, it connects with everything that I just told you about Morgaine. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is like, everything is fitting. And so what can we say about the moon according to the dream spell? The moon is the regent of the night, the feminine side of the days. With its spin and energy, it brings cycles and balance over the water on earth. It symbolizes the inner waters, the emotions. It represents the flow and the purification. It connects us to our feelings and the ability to express them with a sensitivity and love. It's the emotion that motivates us to live. It's the emotional purification of everything that doesn't belong in your life. So that's the work to do. So on the one hand, the whole energy of the year is telling us, let go of that which is no longer serving you. But how are we going to do that? We have to do that through an emotional purification. So we might feel very sensitive this year We might want to cry a lot, and it's going to be like our heart is going to be cracked open this year. So if that starts happening, take a deep breath and know that it's part of the process of letting go of everything that is stuck there. Because the moon symbolizes these waters that are flowing. And so when the water is stuck somewhere, it's going to start, when it stagnates, it's going to rot and it's going to smell horrible. So in order to make this water be a water that is alive, it has to have movement. So if our waters of our unconscious are like that, they are rotten or they are stinky and it's very dirty, we have to bring in new water and let it flush out everything. And it's going to be messy. It's going to stink. We're not going to like it. But the energies are there available for us this year so that we can do it. So if we have that, it's better to do it. It's like you're going to take a Karcher and you're just going to, mass press with the water and just do a deep cleaning, even though it's not going to be fun, but we're going to have to do it eventually. Sooner or later, life will take us there. So it's best that we do it now that the energy is available for us to do so. So the moon is asking you to observe yourself and your surroundings. Feel what you like and dislike about yourself and your environment. What emotions do you feel when you experiment all that? Which ones should you purify and which ones should you release? If you're upset or sad, just calm down so you can exert a more neutral decision. Use that sensitivity to express yourself and love yourself and everyone else more. It's a good energy to let yourself flow and purify anything that might be stuck in our lives. So as I said, this is time to purify, release, and let go. It's going to be a bit hurtful, maybe. It's not going to be fun, but it's time to do it. And mostly because we're going to talk now about the self-existing tone. The key words of this tone are form, define, and measure. So we have to give shape and form to what we are feeling, to define our purification. How do we want it to take place? So this self-existing tone is telling us that 4 is the ray of measure, the alignment with natural cycles. This is also important. This is a very good to align yourself with your natural cycles, be in your own body, or just look at the moon, look at the seasons, day and night. It is a square. Remember that I was telling you about the sphere and the square. So this is the square, the base of the pyramid, the solid foundation that unifies the lines of this directional force. 4 is a diamond that asks you to use the implements of discrimination, like what is good for me, what is not good for me, and let go of that which is no longer serving me. So now is the time to manifest your dream or vision. Look at natural logic, order, and definition. These gifts support the whispers of your creative spirit. So this is also a very good year to become very creative. Why not? We're going to have that sensitivity with us. You are the architect that manifests your dreams. Open the door and invoke the sacred 4. You are being summoned to an intention alignment, bringing healing to this cycle of your life. The 4 directions offer their help so you can understand the laws of physics. Use measure as a tool of consciousness to mold time, form, and space. So again, we're coming back to how are we going to move through space and how are we going to be living our time? You can choose. Do you want to continue with this program that is telling you that time is money, or do you want to live in a radial time that is more natural and that is more sensitive to your own needs, be physical, psychological, emotional, whatever. This is what this year is bringing to us, which is very, very important. So now is the time to focus, to connect in a tangible form with the undefined. Take your ideas and give them discipline and form. Develop the ability to discriminate without creating separation or judgment. Channel your creative energy in a constructive way, generating the power for practical manifestation. So this is going to be a year to manifest a lot of things because of the tone 4. Might be challenging because on the one side you have the waters of the moon flowing, and that doesn't have structure, but the 4 is going to give you that shape and structure. So this is interesting. You're seeing like these 2 different sides of the coin energetically. How are you going to use it for your own benefit and for your own growth? And now this is the Hunab 21 new archetype. And I really have to show you this because when I was reading it, I was like, this is Morgane's energy, and this is the energy for this year. So Moon is the archetype of the healer. We call her now the healer in the Hunab 21. She holds the second place of power in the court of the compassionate one. So again, this is a connection to Arthur. The compassionate one represents the dog. The healer exemplifies healing as a source of love and is the guardian of the universal water that nurtures and sustains all beings. So she's going to bring healing, and also she's going to be nurturing us and sustaining us. So her poem says, I am the healer coded by the red moon. My number is 9, the power of time, destiny, and the cycles of life. From within the living waters, I merge with the universal flow, purifying all within my sacred stream and lifting the vibration in every nature kingdom. Then she says, I am the harmony of wholeness and the regeneration of life. I am fluid and flowing, at one with the phases of the moon. I am the queen of life nurturing water. I am the rain and the stream as it flows. Feeding the plants and all the flowering herbs, in my sacred stream lies the kinship of all. So she's inviting us to do this healing with these different cycles, also listen to our own bodies, and just start taking our own time to live time in a more natural way. And she also says, I am crowned by the restorative splendor of leaves, roots, seeds, and flowers. So she's very connected with nature. The supremacy of divine mind, to know me and my endless powers of healing, is to cast aside all doubt and enter the stream of the faithful ones. So this, you have to put aside our fears, our doubts, and just go with the flow. That's basically what Morgaine is telling us. So far, so good? It's a lot of information, I know, but there we go. We're going there, slowly but surely. So this is the energy of Morgaine. And now we're going to be talking about Lancelot, because he's also in this year's wave spell. So Dulac means of the lake. That means that he has an affiliation also to the none other than the Lady of the Lake. And his archetype, he's the red crystal earth. And he's also galactic activation portal. So something important to say, I'm not going to talk about it right now, but also a very important part of the dream spell when we are doing our ceremonies and stuff, we talk about the crystal core of the earth. So the king that represents that crystal heart of the earth that is pulsating, and it's actually where the rainbow bridge comes from. This is the archetype also. The archetype of Lancelot, the red crystal earth. So Lancelot was also trained as a knight by the Lady of the Lake. And one of his titles, the most important one, is the best knight in the world. His powers were extraordinary and even magical, because he was the best, and nobody could explain why is he the best, because nobody could seem to take him off, like nobody could defeat him. So again, we have different versions of where does Lancelot come from. In some stories, he is the son of the Lady of the Lake, literally. And in others, she's stolen away from his parents, like mom and dad, I don't know what, they're doing something. And then suddenly, like mom puts him in the grass close to the lake. And then she just looks away, then looks back, and the baby is gone. And that means that the Lady of the Lake takes him away because she sees something very special in Lancelot. Whatever the case is, both versions give us a glimpse that Lancelot has qualities from the world of fae, just like Morgaine. So he's said to be also half human and half fae. And that is why he has this magic, and because of this magic, he has a supernatural force, and that is why practically no one can defeat him. And it's very interesting. If you ever read the stories about Lancelot, I just got a book. It was this month that it arrived. By John Matthews with the new stories that he found from King Arthur. And I was reading, there is one chapter that is dedicated to Lancelot. And you see that, yes, like everything just falls into his lap. Like everything is so magical. He goes on many adventures, but everything works out for him. Like doesn't matter what happened. So this is explained by that, the fact that he's half fae. Not only that he's trained by the Lady of the Lake, but also the fact that he's half fae, no? So what is his problem in this case? Because we're entering an interesting territory, which is, we know that there was this love triangle between Arthur, Guinevere, and Lancelot. Like, why did this happen? No, because Lancelot was very faithful to Arthur, but he couldn't stop falling in love with Guinevere. Why is that? No. Well, his problem is that humans and fae, they are not the same species, of course, no? They look for something else and their goals lie elsewhere. So if you would be a fae, you would be living relatively for a very long time. So if you have a long life, then you would be occupied with spiritual matters and everything concerning the maintenance and conservation of physical nature and the spiritual identity of nature here and now. So if he wanted to have like a normal girlfriend, he would be, it's like a bunch of Barbies, no? And he's like, oh, I'm bored now. Like, yes, you're very beautiful, but you're not what I'm looking for, because he has other aims. This is what was happening with him, no? So that's where the problems started, because his aims are different. And although he's part of Camelot, he's chasing most of the time, not only after the Grail, because all of the knights in Camelot, at some point, they go after the Grail, after spirit, but he also wishes to fulfill certain needs, such as finding a complementary partner, which in his eyes it's Guinevere, because she is from the Fae. Guinevere is 100% fairy. That's the difference between her and the other ladies around there. So she's super magical, and he looks at her as like, oh, she's like the most amazing, beautiful woman in the world, and nobody can compare with her. Of course not, because she's 100% fairy. And that is why he is in constant conflict, because he has on the one side what he desires, like, this woman, no? But on the other side, like, I have to be a knight and I have to do knightly things at the same time, no? So he's conflicted about it. And if there's one knight that who is least present in Camelot itself, it's Lancelot. Why? Because of this inner conflict of or dilemma within himself between the loyalty to Arthur and his heart's desire, which is to be with the queen. So he knows, he has promised that he will be loyal to Arthur, but his heart is like, no, let's go with Guinevere. And he's like, I rather not be there, because it's just too much for me. I cannot be in front of the both things, no? So that is why he's always on the quest. He's rarely there. He's out there so that he doesn't have to be facing both Arthur and Guinevere. But he does return to Camelot, and mostly he returns when he finds out that Guinevere is in grave danger, or that she has been abducted, which happens quite frequently. She's very, very much attacked. So he comes back, and then he has to be the big hero who is going to save her and bring her back to Arthur. Of course, again, with pain in his heart, no? But this is what he saw as his greatest duty. He has to bring her back, and this was like a surrogate quest, no? Like he was distracted all the time, because he was like, I should be on my spiritual quest, but Guinevere is in danger. I have to go rescue her. Like, I cannot just leave her be, because I love her, no? So that is like the big telenovela drama that's going on there with those three. And because of this, his life becomes like a tragedy for him. I mean, well, also for Camelot, eventually, because Camelot falls in part because of that, no? But the tragedy for him is that he is the great promise, but at the same time, he cannot fulfill that promise because he's never truly on his quest. So his tragedy ends at the very end when he finds the Grail. This image is talking about it. He finds the Grail chapel and he's not allowed in. So he's on the quest, finds the Grail chapel, but there is a problem. And the problem is, as you can see over here, there is an angel in front of the chapel, or it could be the hermit, like in the tarot. And this being, be the angel or the hermit, he's going to say, you cannot go in because you're not prepared. No? In other words, he has not used the quest to prepare himself to receive the Grail. He has been busy with other things, like his complicated matters with Guinevere. Instead of being really focused on what his destiny is, he got distracted by this idea, this false Grail of love. That was not his true Grail. It was a part that he was very connected to, but he got confused. He confused the quest of the Grail for the quest for Guinevere, and it's not the same. So that is his big tragedy. Very, very sad story. So there is a lot that we can learn from him in terms of the Arthurian. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about his energy in the dream spell. So as the earth, his keywords are navigation, evolves, and synchronicity. Wonder why, no? Well, you will see in a moment. And this is the way it connects is so beautiful. Like I really, when I found that, I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. So the Earth is a planet that navigates through the solar system, synchronizing with the other planets and the sun. And we know, because Argüelles called it this way, like it was, it's like nave tiempo tierra. It's the spaceship time Earth. Uh-huh. So it spins knowing its own cycles and the right time to go through them, keeping its balance with the rest of the universe. It symbolizes navigation and evolution. It represents our Mother Earth, the environment in which the biosphere can exist. She provides us precisely of what we need in order to keep the cycle of life in this planet. No? So that's the energy of the Earth. We are on this amazing spaceship, which is alive. We're floating through the universe, and she's teaching us about synchronicity and natural time cycles, and also life itself, because it holds us all together here in this amazing planet. So the Earth is telling you, trust the synchronicities. They might not be what you expected, but flow with them, as everything will work out for you. Do what you like and believe is convenient for you. Center yourself in the here and now. Keep what you need to keep and provide justly for the others. Pay attention to the signs that you see. Listen to your intuition and flow with it. Whatever happens, whatever is coming, just go with it. Allow yourself to be in contact with nature and receive or provide whatever is needed. So the Earth is telling you about synchronicity, these cycles. Listen to your intuition as well, and pay attention to these signs around you, because they are there. But if you don't have a way to recognize them, it's just like the Grail. It's just going to pass in front of, like, for example, it passed in front of Galahad, and it was, when he recognized it, it was too late. You have to recognize what is in front of you. And now let's talk about the tone 12, the crystal tone, which is the tone of cooperation. So this means that the quest that we're taking is very personal, but we're going to go together in our own quest, like as a group. We're doing it also as a group. So what the tone 12 is telling you is that stability is expansion, a greater constellation, the union of polarity, the framework of connection. Crystal 12, the area of complex stability, the foundation of the being and the foundation of essence in unity with the mystical truth of polarity. Everything is intertwined in the dance of the yin and the yang. Every part shares a greater part, like we're all connected. So turn to knowledge, strength, and stability that arises from being part of that greater council. We're all connected. We're all in this quest as knights and ladies of the round table. So no matter what you're living, the tone 12 tells you, there is a complex stability within the greater pattern that is inviting you to feel stable to the extent that you expand and evolve. This is very important to note. We might feel that everything is falling apart around us, but we have to trust that there is a greater scheme of things, and we have to trust it. When things seem to be falling apart, sometimes they fall into place, no? So the tone 12 is asking us to do that. Living in a world of polarities, however, knowing that all parts are one in the unified all. Create the underlying framework in which the worlds and the realities are interwoven. So just connect and allow yourself again to flow. So they are very connected, both energies, both Morgaine and Lancelot. Then a little bit more information. It says stability is a matter of perception. Search where you can flow openly and expand in the middle of apparent complexity. Use the relationships that polarity has created to explore and expand any self-limiting structure. Open your perception. Through you, the mysterious balance of the cosmos is achieved. So we might think that we are not important in the big scheme of things, but we are. So it's important we listen to intuition to know where we have to move, and synchronicity is going to be our friend. So far so good? Okay. So now let's look at the Hunabku 21 archetype, and it really connects with the archetype of Lancelot. It says, I am the navigator coded by the red earth. 17 is my number. My insignia are the harmonic seals of planet mind and star mind returning to source. So it connects us in a planetary sense, but also in a galactic way, in a stellar way. Then he says, I am the indivisibility of all, time and consciousness. I hold the maps of celestial origin and follow the signs of synchronicity on behalf of cosmic evolution. So this is important. The Earth is going to help us follow the signs of synchronicity. Then he says, my crown is the interdimensional portal of the galactic life hole. 13 and 7. Code is above and below. So you have here, you see, the 13 and the 7. In the center is the 441, and on either side, 11 over here, and 27. They are the keys to the synchronic power of 7. Synchronic lenses, these are his synchronic lenses. They are so beautiful. Allow me to see all things radially. I am evolution in motion. I am the skilled star traveler, guided by telepathic frequencies that hold stars and planetary systems in order. So we're activating as well, not only synchronicity, but telepathy. And we were talking actually about it yesterday, a little bit. Look at this, how he's connected with Guinevere. The galactic compass is my steering wheel. So that's the energy of Guinevere that is there. And that is his steering wheel. But also the energy of Merlin, because Merlin is the one that forged the round table and created the galactic compass, no? So he says, keys to the knowledge of galactic activation, whose signs are the directions for every traveler of time to know. To know me is to know the language of the stars. So you see how the archetypes are connected. When I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, it's all connected, obviously, no? So all of this is bringing us to what is expected of us, or what we are being called to do this year, is to go on the quest for the galactic grail, or your personal grail. So what is this quest that we're being called upon on this solar ring of the red self-existing moon? What is it? Well, just think about it. A grail, it depends on each person. So the grail is a manifestation of spirit in this earth. So the grail that you will find is how you manifest the spirit in this earth. So for some people, it can be family, or it can be learning compassion or helping others. So it's going to be different for each one of us. And how are we going to find our own personal grail? Well, it can be found through searching and questing. It may be found in the faraway corners of the world or in the tiniest of spaces around us. This is something very important to note, because I don't know if you guys know about this book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. But if you haven't read about it, no? But yeah, I would like really encourage you as well to read that book. But basically what happens in the book is that one goes on a quest for their own, like kind of like the grail. And sometimes you think you're going to find it very far away. And the truth is, it's where you least expect it. I'm not going to say, I'm not spoiling it, but I'm just going to put it that way. Sometimes we're going to find our mission or our destiny where we least might expect to find it. But in this case, our grail, our manifestation of spirit, is calling us to be found. And it's calling us from the depths of our own being, thereby beckoning us to seek inwardly within, for it is within ourselves that we find the world and the grail. So the treasure is here in our hearts, inside of us. And the grail unveiled, once we find it, it's going to be unveiled, and it is the naked spirit that has revealed itself unto the human soul. The concealment of God in creation is the mercy for those who cannot yet behold the spirit unveiled. What does this mean? That sometimes we are not ready to receive that kind of information. And if we receive it when we're not ready, then it can bring about chaos and disorder. If we think about the story of Moses, when he goes up to Mount Sinai, he doesn't really look at God like God is present. No, if God presented themselves in front of Moses, he would be burned. It's too much energy. So he presents as this flaming bush, right? So we're going to have to find God. God is concealed. Why? Because we do not have the means to behold God as God is. So we have to find approximations to see how we're going to find God. And this is what the quest for the Grail is about. It's a journey for preparation and purification for us as a seeker to eventually behold, receive, and carry the Spirit over the earth. And it's God looking at God. We are going to be looking at ourselves just as God would be looking at God. And this is very, very important. So how are we going to go upon this quest? Well, in this case, the seeker will travel in the ship of the soul upon the waters of the unconscious. Just look at this. The ship is guided by the inner navigation of the soul, which is like a spiritual compass, always directed towards the sacred north. So in this case, Morgaine this year represents the moon and the waters of the unconscious, like these waters over here. And Lancelot is the ship guided by the inner navigation and the galactic compass of synchronicity. These will be our allies to find our grail if we decide to take the route of the dream spell. So when I was seeing this, I was like, of course, these two mythologies, they come together very nicely. And this is the year to work with these two energies from Lancelot and from Morgaine, but also in a second plane, we're going to have the energies of the Lady of the Lake and Merlin and Guinevere and also Arthur. So once we find our personal grail, we can become a bearer of the grail. And if we wish to be a grail bearer or a carrier of the presence, the Shekinah or the Holy One, we have to make space in our heart for just that. We have to be the most authentic selves we can be, sacrifice our own presence in terms of sacrificing the ego or those things that are no longer serving me. And I just become the true, natural, authentic me. And one of the first steps we have to do in order to achieve that is to live a natural time. Because if we're living in a fake time, then we cannot be our own true selves. Now, this is very interesting. What happens then when we find our grail and we are taking it with us to the world? So the question that comes to the one who finds the grail is, where shall you go now, grail bearer? And the answer came from the heart where the grail resided, to that place where I am most needed. So that means that once we receive this gift of our grail, we take it into the world and we help others. And we share our gift. We share who we are. We share our light. And that's precisely the big work that we have to do this year, prepare so that we can find our grail and then go out into the world and give back that which we have been given and that which we have understood. So that is very interesting. And the question that now I throw to you is, will you answer the call of the quest to find your own grail? And I'm not going to talk about this now, but I just wanted to show you, you probably know about this, The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. So this is what we're going to begin this year. Again, because last year we did it, working with going to find our round table, establishing the round table. And now we're living the ordinary world and we have a call to adventure. So we're going to start this trip if we wish to. Like, you can choose to say, yes, I want to do it, or you can say, no, it's up to you. But now you have all of the information, the archetypal energy to know, this year I could do that if I'm ready to do that. So far, so good? Yeah? Okay. Now, just remember that, as I said, both Morgaine is over here in this wave spell of the World Bridger, and Lancelot is over here in the position 12. That's why they will be joining us, and they will bring inspiration to navigate it. So we're not going to be alone in this quest. We have these two energies, which are very attuned to what is going on. And now we're going to enter to the interesting part, the more practical part of the analysis of the solar ring of the red self-existing moon, July 26th to July 25th. So we're going to see month by month or moon by moon what is going to happen so that you can plan your year energetically and you know what you want to do. So we will begin with the magnetic moon of the bat from July the 26th to August 22nd. So we're going to be pulsating with the energy of the white magnetic world bridger. So as I said a while ago, the purpose of this year is to attract death in order to transcend endlessness. So what we're asked to do, like the question for this moon beginning today is, what is my purpose for this year? So I would advise you to sit down this heptad or these 7 days, sit down and write down, what do you want to achieve for this solar ring of the red self-existing moon? What do you want to do? Knowing that you have to let go and get rid of many, many things. You have to put order in your life, go with the flow of your emotions, and connect to synchronicity. Like these are the energies that are present there this year. So what will be your purpose in this year? So write it down, think about it. And what are the energies being there available for us to do? Do what? During these 28 days, it's a good idea to clean the closet, get rid of stuff that is no longer good for you. If you have to let go of a relationship of any kind, it could be like a friendship or I don't know, something like that, and some cycle, this is a good time to do that. You're magnetizing the death of the old. So what do you want to let go of? Good time to do cleaning, opening space for the new. So it's a lot of work, inner work, to let go of many, many things that we don't need. So that's what we have to do these 28 days. So far, so good? Yes? Okay, then the next moon, the lunar moon of the Scorpion, August 23rd to September 19th, here you will have to ask yourself, okay, now I have all of my objectives. What will be my challenges for these objectives that I put myself that I want to do? And think about objectives, not in terms of what we do with the Gregorian year, you know, the New Year's resolutions, because you're like, oh, I want to lose weight and I want to do this and I want to do that. And then at the end, we don't do anything. Think more about goals. What are your dreams to achieve in this year? Then it's going to be easier for you to stick to them. So in this moon, you have to ask yourself, okay, what are going to be the challenges? What do I have to do that might hinder me from getting there, from achieving these goals or my dreams for this year? And I want you to pay attention to this because we have the energy of the hand. So the world bridger is already talking about bringing together two different realities, but also like we are ending one cycle, beginning a new one, and the hand does the same. The hand is helping you to open and close spaces, open and close cycles. So in a way, if you don't finish with your cleaning and letting go in this moon, it doesn't matter. You can continue. Oh, sorry. You can continue doing that during this moon as well. So this hand is gonna challenge you to bring healing, to create. The energy of the hand is that create something new, do some healing. So if you're planning to take any courses that have anything to do with healing, or you're gonna have a special kind of therapy or a massage, something like that, this is a good moon to do that. Take care of yourself, pamper yourself, because you're going to be challenged also to heal yourself. So it might be a bit of a challenging moon. So this would be in terms of the lunar moon. So far, so good? Yeah? Okay, then the next moon, the electric moon of the deer, September 20th to October 17th, we're going to be pulsating with the energy of the yellow electric star. So the electric tone is how we're going to connect with others. How are we going to be giving our service? And the star represents beauty and art. So here the question is, how do I connect to others to bring about what I wish to bring about this year? And mostly what this moon is asking you to do is, this is also reflecting order, just like the mirror over here. So this star is telling you, bring order, but as art. So any way that you want to express yourself artistically, this is a good moon to do that. If you want to take a painting class or a writing class, whatever that has to do with the expression of yourself, this is a very good time for you to do that. Or maybe you say, I don't really want to do that, but I want to go watch, I don't know, a theater play that is very special to me, or something like that. Anything that is connecting you to art, this is a good time to do that, because if you connect with other people to enjoy this, this is going to be empowering you very much to achieve your goals during this year. So far, so good? Yes? All right. So the next one, which is actually going to be a fractal of today. So write down what you're living today, because during the self-existing moon of the owl, from October 18th to November 14th, you're going to be living while you're living fractally today, you're going to be living fractally those 28 days. So in this case, you have to ask yourself, how am I going to give shape of these dreams of mine for this year? How am I going to give shape to this project? And as we have the energy of the moon, again, very, very important that we connect with our subconscious, with our feminine energies. Just let ourselves flow. This might be also a very sensitive moon. We might feel that we want to cry, and we are very, very sensitive, and it's normal because everything that is meant to be purified, it's gonna be purified right in this moment. Like, this is gonna be the tough part of the year, in the sense that we are living the fractal of the whole year during these 28 years, but also we are doing this cleansing or this purification of our emotions. So it might be a bit tricky. Don't worry, just take a deep breath and go with the flow. So far, so good? Yes? Okay, let's go with the next one, which is the overtone moon of the peacock from November 15th to December 12th. And so we're going to have the energy of the dog, the white overtone dog. So in this case, the overtone is telling us, how are you going to empower yourself? That's the question that you have to answer. How are you going to empower yourself to achieve those goals? And the answer is through love, because here is the little dog. So what's going to give you that power is love, love towards yourself, and love for other people around us. Oh, it's okay, Aniko, don't worry. It's being recorded and I will send it to you. Good. So that being said, it's gonna be a great moon in this time to just pamper yourself, be with your family, with your loved ones. That's gonna give you the strength to fulfill and go through anything and everything that you want to go through. So and this is interesting because we're approaching Christmas, but this is very interesting what's going to happen in the next month, let me tell you, because okay, so far so good, because now I'm going to move on to the next one. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is the rhythmic moon of the lizard, or the crocodile, and it's December 13, 2022 to January 9th, 2023. Oh my God, time is flying by so fast. I can't believe it. So this is going to be interesting because we have here it's not only the monkey, but it's the rhythmic monkey. Yes. So the rhythmic tone is going to bring balance. So if you remember the symbol or the glyph for the rhythmic tone, I'm going to draw it here. But this is the rhythmic tone, right? We have one bar and we have one point. So that's what it is. But if you put it upside down, then it's like, one of these balance things, when you go to a playground and you're doing this, that's what the rhythmic tone does. So this moon is going to be a lot of fun. Not only because it's the rhythmic moon, so you have to ask yourself, how am I going to balance myself? How am I going to bring balance to my efforts? But also because we have the energy of the monkey. And have you seen a monkey? Monkeys are cheeky, they're playful, they will be, they're going to be just bringing a mess around you, because that's what the monkey does. No, it brings, like, it puts everything upside down. So this moon, everything, like, you might be planning and everything is going so well, but the monkey will come and it's going to do monkey stuff. So if things are not going according to plan, if during you're preparing your Christmas Eve celebration with your family, and the family starts like, you forgot to buy the present, and the turkey is all, it's like all charcoal, it's the monkey. Okay, don't take it personal, it's the monkey. But why will the monkey be acting up during these times? It will act up only if we don't pay attention to our inner child. So this is also a very good moon to connect with our inner child, and bring healing to our inner child. This I tell to my students many times, because we all have wounds from our parents. or from the adults in our lives. It's inevitable. It's part of being alive, no? So what I would tell you to do is, if you have wounds from your parents that your parents gave you, now you're the adult in your life. So you take your own inner child and bring healing to your own inner child. That's not, even if your parents are alive, it's not their problem anymore. It's now you have to take responsibility for healing your own inner child. So this is a good moon to be doing deep work with my inner child, and Morgane, with this unconscious work, she might help us bring healing by bringing to consciousness everything that we need to do in order to heal our inner child. But also bring the child out to play. So you guys who know me know that I love Star Wars. So probably I will buy another Baby Yoda Funko or whatever, and I'm gonna let my little girl play during Christmas because it's the time to do that. No, if you feel like buying a little car, or a Barbie, or I don't know, whatever toy you didn't have when you were a child, go buy it. Like, this is a good mood to do that, and that will bring healing to your inner child. Okay, this is something that I regularly do for my inner child, and we're having a good relationship. So far, so good. Like, we have fun together. And it really helps your adult as well. So this is a good moon to do that. Huh? But if things go upside down during these 28 days, no, it's the monkey. Okay. What are we gonna do? Take a deep breath, relax, and go with the flow. Just play with the monkey. But it's best to keep the monkey occupied. So put the monkey to work. So far, so good? Yes? Okay. Now, let's move on to the next moon, which is the resonant moon of the monkey, coming from one monkey to another. Oh my God, no? From January the 10th to February the 6th, now we are in 2023. So the resonant tone is talking about inspiration and channeling. And in this case, what we're being asked to do is work with our free will and our sovereignty. I talked to you about it a bit. It's like, this would be a good moon to go and take our Excalibur out of the stone. Do some nightly work, do some work with our own king, see how my kingdom is, see how my sovereignty is, how my free will is, how my wisdom is doing. So this is a lot of work for myself. How am I going to inspire and channel what I have to do? Go within, as again, and connect with that wisdom inside of me. So far, so good. This is a bit more simpler than that. The last one is because it's the month. Then the next moon we have, it's the galactic moon of the hawk from February the 7th to March the 6th. And we have here the red galactic Skywalker, the Skywalker. And so the galactic tone is asking you, are you walking your talk? Are you being congruent and coherent? Yes or no? So that's what you have to ask yourself during this moon. Am I being congruent with what I said that I would do at the beginning of the year? If not, what do I have to do? And in this case, the Skywalker is asking you to take a chance, explore space, explore possibilities, try new things. So if you're very afraid to try something new, this is a good moon. You're going to have the energy there with you. Like, okay, I've always wanted to go bungee jumping. I'm going to do it now because the energy is there for me to just break free of my fears and let's go. No, I wouldn't do that because I hate, like, no, I'm very scared of heights. This is just an example. It's an extreme example, but any other thing that you say, you know what, I've always wanted to try this and I've never allowed myself to do that. For example, take cooking classes, or I don't know, I want to learn how to make a tattoo. I don't know, whatever crazy thing comes to your mind, this is a good time so that you can expand yourself and live in a different way. So far, so good? Yes? Okay, good. Now, next one is and this is very interesting because we have the solar moon of the Jaguar, March the 7th to April the 3rd. Why is this important? Because on the one side, we have the energy of the Jaguar, and the Jaguar and the Wizard, these are one and the same. So we have a double Wizard energy present during these 28 days. This means that you guys should do anything magical that comes to mind. The solar moon is talking to you about how am I going to bring to fruition all the work that I've done in the previous moons through magic. And magic is believing. And sometimes you have to close your eyes to what is, because, and that, I love Joe Dispenza. He teaches this. Like he says, so what? You're going to be discouraged by what you see? Abraham Hicks also says that. If you're discouraged by what is, you're never going to get to where you want to go. So stop paying attention to what is and focus on what you want to achieve. Doesn't matter the state of things right now. It's going to change. But if you start getting stuck on the here and now, you're going to keep in the same timeline. We were talking about timelines earlier. So let's move to another timeline. How are you going to do it? Do the magic. No? Do the magic. That's it. So this moon is very good to work with that. Then the next moon, planetary moon of the dog, from April the 4th to May the 1st. And so here, the tone 10 is asking you, how are you going to manifest your objectives? If you haven't asked yourself, how are you manifesting them? How are things going? And here we have the energy of the eagle, the blue eagle, which is reminding us of planetary service again, and also the vision. Is your vision really being manifested? Has your vision changed? Because sometimes we begin with certain objectives, things change and we have to adapt and we have to recalibrate. So if that is the case, how has your vision changed? Do you have to adjust anything, or are you still doing what you have to do? And remember, what you're doing is not just for you, it's going to impact the people around you. So the work you're doing for yourself is work that you're doing also for the whole of humanity. Always remember that. It might seem that what you're doing is not important, but I bet to you it is. For example, last night I was teaching an English class. I have this student up in the north of Mexico. There are many, many droughts. The situation is terrible. And he's a person with a lot of money. And he has access to water. And what he does is that he fills these trucks with water, and he brings the water to the people who are less fortunate. And he doesn't ask for money in return. He told me that, and I was like, you might think that what you're doing, because he's like, it's no problem for me to do that. And I'm saying, maybe for you, it's not a problem, but you're making a difference and you're impacting people's lives. This is a big example in a way, but really the most simple things, like just saying hello to somebody, can make a difference in their day. Okay. So whatever you're doing, keep that vision going, because what you're doing matters. So this moon is going to remind you of that. Then the next one, this is going to be a very powerful and interesting moon. Why? Because on the one side, we have the spectral moon of the serpent, May the 2nd to 29. So what do you have to do? The spectral tone is letting go, releasing. Okay. So you're going to be forced, because you also have the energy of the serpent. The serpent, remember that it changes, it sheds its skin. So you have to let go of the old and bring in the new. But here we have the energy of the warrior. So this moon, you might be feeling a little bit feisty and you want to fight with people, and you might feel like, and you might be questioning things like, what am I doing? Is this correct? What is going on? So try not to be very combative, but rather think of yourself, instead of a warrior, think of yourself as a peace bringer. So I would suggest lots of meditation, lots of chanting the and whatever you do, like putting on your essential oils and whatever, to just relax, take it easy. Because this moon, we're going to be confronted, it's a little bit like in the movie, what's the name? La Historia Sin Fin, Never Ending Story. At some point, Atreyu has to face himself in the mirror, and it's scary. So that's what's going to happen in this moon. We're going to be facing ourselves in the mirror to let go of whatever we need to let go of, because we have to cross the threshold. We have to keep on going, and we have to evolve. And that is connecting with the next moon, which is the crystal moon of the rabbit, from May the 30th to June the 26th. And this is Lancelot's moon. So the tone 12 is asking you, how am I cooperating with others in order to create what I want to create this year. So this is the reminder. Some things you need help. It's okay to ask for help. You don't have to do everything alone. And so that's what the crystal tone is reminding you to do. And the earth is, don't be afraid to move and expand. Keep on connecting with synchronicity. Keep on connecting with your own nature. Listen to your own cycles, to your own body. If you need to relax a little bit, if you need to activate whatever you need, listen to that inner guidance of that earth that is going to be present with you, pulsating and connecting you with the heart of the earth. So this is going to be a very, very magical moon. If you have any projects that you want to do with people, this is a good time to, for example, present it. Now, start working all throughout the year, and during this moon, present whatever you have done, all of you together. And then finally, we're going to finish our year with the cosmic moon of the turtle from June the 27th to July the 24th. And we are finishing our energies with the white cosmic mirror, which is talking about transcendence. How am I going to transcend what I began? How am I closing my cycle? And so here we see this mirror, which is bringing order. So you can bring light like as an endless source of light, or you can be one of those mirrors when you go to the fair that is going to distort everything. So if you do a good work throughout the 13 moons, when you arrive here, your mirror should be very, very clean and pristine, showing who you really are and connecting to your own grail. Know who you are. And then when you know who you are, know yourself, and then you will find your place in the world, and then you can start the greatest adventure of them all, which is being authentic and sharing who you are with no reservations, with no fears, because there's nothing to hide. You are who you are. And the people who will love you and will be walking with you, they will never leave you because they know who you are. So this will also be a bit of a tricky moon, because that's when we're facing the whole of the work that we have done. And it might bring about, still, when you bring light into a place, it might shed some light into places that might look a bit dark, a bit rusty, a bit ugly, but it's okay. Nobody's perfect. We all have our sides of light and darkness. So embrace all those sides of you. So are there any questions, or so far so good? So now you have this energetic reading, so you know how you can be planning your year. And I leave you with this question. What do you choose, the controlling program or creative freedom? That will be up to you. No? And now, just to finish our presentation for today, we're going to finish with our meditation. So here, this quote is from Circle of Avalon, from my teacher, Mike. It says, "Let us go on our journey, become a seeker after the Grail. Let us enter the forest where there is no path, it is dark and the growth the thickest. Let us go where no one has gone before, the path of the hero and the authentic self." This is important because when we go into the forest, if we see a path that is already there, that means that's not our path. We have to carve our own paths. That's the work that we have to do during this year. So now, if you're ready, we will begin our meditation with Morgane and Lancelot. We will enter the adventure of the quest of our own galactic grail. So I would ask you to just relax, okay? I'm going to put some music. Just let me know if the volume is okay. I don't want it to be too loud. So tell me if you can hear the music, if it is a good volume. Because the thing is, I don't want the music to overtake my voice. So it's okay like that? You can't hear the music? Wait, okay, just give me a second. Supposedly, it should be already, but just give me a second, let's fix it. Now can you, yeah? Hey, okay. So is it super loud or is it okay with my voice? Because I don't want to overtake my voice. It's okay? All right. So please just take a deep breath, relax. You can leave your cameras on, or you can turn them off as you wish. So just take a moment to relax, and let's connect with our here and now. Take a deep breath. And let's just be thankful that we are gathering today in a very special day, the day of Morgaine. Take a moment to just connect with our here and now, feel our bodies. Just take a moment. And if at some point you have any strange thoughts or whatever, just observe these thoughts and let them go. It's okay. Any problems that we are living through, they're gonna be waiting for us after we finish our meditation. So let's take this moment for ourselves and enjoy and be happy and connect with these amazing archetypes of Morgaine and Lancelot. So let's take another deep breath and take a moment to relax. Now imagine that you're in front of a big door that will lead you to a magical place. Look at this amazing structure. How big is it? What materials is it made of? Is it familiar? Have you ever seen it in another meditation before? You approach this amazing, incredible, and magical door, and now you will open it, and you will see a new landscape right in front of you. Look, you will find that you're in a magical forest. You can see the path before you. So now it's time to cross the threshold of the door and enter this special place. Take a few steps and look at the place surrounding you. Is it day? Is it night? Are there any clouds, any trees or flowers, even animals? Take a moment to just absorb everything that is surrounding you. You might find that a special animal or being approaches you. Let this being come close to you. It will be your guide for the journey that we're about to begin. You will see that this creature is advancing in the path before you. So now you follow it, and you will continue on this path until you find yourself in front of a lake. You will notice that the lake is thick with mists, but you see a shape approaching the shore. You can see a boat and a female shape guiding it towards you. You can distinctly see that this woman is none other than Morgaine. She's smiling and invites you to get on the boat and travel with her to Avalon. So you get on the boat along with the magical creature that is accompanying you, and you begin crossing the magical and sacred waters of the lake. You keep on advancing, and as you go along, Morgaine tells you that she is a high priestess of Avalon, and as such, she has the task of showing you the possibilities of the coming year ahead of you. As you start approaching the Isle of Avalon, you feel a special energy surrounding you, because you know that you are entering a sacred space where the energies of the goddess are present. Morgaine does a special incantation and movement of her arms, and the mists dissipate before you. You can see Avalon's shore and many ladies awaiting for you. Among them, the Lady of the Lake herself. They all greet you and ask you to come to their land. You get off the boat with your familiar or sacred creature, and you take a good look at all of these women who are the guardians of the old ways of Avalon. Take a moment to greet them, look at their faces, and feel their energy. Now, Morgaine tells you that she will help you nurture your intuition this year. She will show you how to connect with the waters of your unconscious mind so you can bring to the light, to the conscious, whatever needs to be healed. She reminds you that you are free to choose what you will do with the gifts she will bestow upon you today. You can choose to answer the call or go back to the waters of unconsciousness. Morgaine starts walking and asks you to follow her. You go up on a hill and you will find that there is a magical well. She asks you to come to her side and look at the waters of the well. She explains that this is a magical well that can show you what your personal grail is. And so, she does a special movement with her hands above the water and sings a special incantation. And suddenly, the water starts swirling very fast. Slowly, it comes to a perfect stillness, and it looks like a mirror, reflecting the deepest images of your unconscious. You ask the question, what is my grail? As a Mayan pursuit of the divine in this life, how does the Grail present to me? Is it love, justice, prophecy, compassion? What is the spiritual presence of God here and now in my life as my personal Grail? Take a moment to look at the water and see what your personal Grail is. You tell Morgaine what you are shown, because she cannot see it herself, only you can see it. She reminds you that we are the god, the goddess, beholding themselves through your human experience and your grail unveiled. Now that you are aware of what your personal grail is, you see a male figure appear in front of you and Morgaine approaching the well. It is Lancelot who has come to ask you, are you ready to go on the quest for your grail? You take a moment to decide if you will want to begin your quest on this solar year of the red self-existing moon. But you already know the answer, as your soul has guided you to this place. You are ready. So now, Lancelot asks you to follow him to a special court in the Isle of Avalon. It is green with many beautiful flowers and even some animals roaming around. You will find that there is a place for you to sit, a galactic round table, a twin of the one found in Camelot. Around you, there are many knights and ladies. These are the companions of the light, gathering there around you and welcoming you to the table. Everyone sits, and you can also see other people joining. Merlin, the Lady of the Lake, even Queen Guinevere and King Arthur are there. This is a special occasion as a round table convenes in Camelot, but due to the nature of this year's quest, it is allowed for this one time that we all convene here. Queen Guinevere welcomes you and says, "We are glad that you are here with us today. On the past solar ring of the electric yellow seed, after Merlin forged the galactic round table, I brought it as my dowry gift to Arthur and Camelot. It is the galactic compass that will now help you to find your Grail. We are now finally gathering here so the quest may begin." Arthur also gives you some words of advice. It is said that God's blessing is coming down into creation, like a king who bends his knee to come closer to its kingdom, yielding unto its creatures and created beings. So do the knights and ladies of the Round Table yield daily to the great mystery of the Grail, which is the presence of God on earth. You are God on earth. Remember this always. Lancelot now speaks. Just as I have magical strength to go on the quest, so you too have it on this solar ring. And that strength comes from cooperation with the whole. We are now all together in this quest, but we all have our own paths to take. So bear in mind this: when we go into the forest, if you see a path before you, it is not your own. You must go into the thickest of the forest and carve your own path. No one else can walk that path for you. It is yours and yours only. You have been shown what your personal Grail is. Do not repeat my mistake. Do not get distracted from your true quest. Always be true to yourself and to your dream. That is where you will find your Grail. Once you find the Grail, ask the right questions. Whom does my Grail serve? What do I truly need? Know the answers and you will become a Grail bearer. It will be time for you to go into the world and share the knowledge gained through love and compassion. Now Merlin speaks. It is time for you all to go on the quest. With my magic, I will turn the galactic round table into the galactic compass. Take it with you on your journey so that through synchronicity you will find your way. And with a movement from his hands and a magical enchantment, Merlin holds now the galactic compass and puts it in your hands. Lancelot says some more words to you. As you embark on the journey of synchronicity, call upon the energy of the red crystal earth to help you understand the signs through the use of the dream spell and the galactic compass. Morgaine speaks now. And also invoke the energy of the red self-existing moon to give shape to the understanding of these synchronicities from the deepest waters of your unconscious mind. Let it give shape to your healing through the flowing of its magical waters. You see that she offers you a special gift. Observe it as you take it into your hands and thank her for this. Now, the Lady of the Lake says, "Beloved king, it is time to go. Follow me to the shores of Avalon so you can go back to the mainland and begin your quest." You all follow her out of the court and down a path. You can now see the shore in front of you and the boat awaiting. Morgaine says her goodbyes, explaining that she has to stay, but Lancelot will escort you back home. You get into the boat and wave goodbye. The mists are surrounding you once more, and then you reach the shore. Lancelot helps you get down and says, "Now the quest begins. Go into the thickest of the forest and carve your own path. Good luck on your endeavors." You say goodbye, and now you need to come back to the here and now. So you take the path you began your journey on, and you see the big door you enter through before you. You leave your familiar or sacred animal in your magical forest, and you thank them for joining you. You promise to come back in meditation to visit. You open the door, cross the threshold to the other side, and close it behind you. Now take a deep breath and start coming back to the present time, feeling your body. Start slowly moving your hands, your feet, your head, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back. So this would be the end of this presentation, and I want to thank you for your attention. And remember to check out what we're doing on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. Go check out what we're doing. You already know us. I'm going to close the presentation now, so if anybody